Hey, what's up? Part two. Don't know how long this is gonna go. It got cut off. Dun, 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 global south.
We back.
So I figured out what happened the other day. It cuts off at an hour, and I'm
Yeah,
surprised.
that makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah, we
And
they like
like always, without looking at the clock, always stopped it before that.
Okay.
oh yeah, no, cool, it's cool, it's cool.
So go ahead and tell the story.
Okay. You probably already know which one it is. I don't know. It's like so ridiculously cool, man. Like I and I just want to say here in public, yeah, I don't smoke weed that often. It was just in California, so
yeah, was it? You picked the
but
right
yeah,
place.
that day I smoked and I was high, like so high, man, and I was driving my really amazing van. You can have a look at it on my Facebook page. It's like this amazing golden van. Yeah, like you remember it, Steve, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Like really the most beautiful van in all of California. I've never seen one that is as nice as mine, and it's a different story, the van, but yeah, that van definitely looks like a hit.
We lost them.
Ah,
The story was getting good. Maybe we did scare IG. They're like no weed stories. Like what? It's
uh,
like he's back.
Yeah, what the fuck, man. Okay, and Steve, I don't know if it was true, but he always told me he doesn't smoke weed. I never seen him smoke weed, and he looks like more than anyone else like somebody that smokes weed, right? Look at him. He means Bob Marley, right? But I've never seen him back then. I I don't know if he was doing it in
I,
secret,
I, I
but
started I
uh,
started smoking. I started smoking after, but at that time I didn't smoke. I did smoke with you that
yeah,
time.
he didn't smoke weed, but he looked like
Wow,
Bob
that's
Marley.
crazy.
So it doesn't matter because I look like I don't smoke. He looks like he does. It's the same thing when the police stops you. So
Oh
so we're driving.
man.
One time, of course, that the police stopped us, and I'm like high as fuck. I really couldn't focus. I was like, my temperature's going up. I was like, shit, I'm fucked up because I was, and it was a policewoman, a blonde policewoman at his window looking at him, Bob Marlin face, and he knew I was high, like it was very high. He knew it, and he just I just thought it's over now. And what happened? He just started flirting with this woman. Like I mean, like, they
I
were just
was
they were just throwing like the most crazy shit at each other, like love things. Am I in the wrong movie? And then he said,
I pimped
"Go
this
for it. You
cock
can,
so
you can just
bad.
continue." I don't know if you got her number or something, but it was crazy, man. Like he was,
I was
Man, Steve. God
I was joking
dang.
I
and the
was
things he
joking
said, I
about
can't remember what he said.
handcuffs.
They were so funny and so perfect. It was perfect flirting, I swear.
And it's funny because he didn't have his ID with him. He
Oh,
wanted he wanted to go in the back of his van. And normally, probably if he wasn't there with me, he could just do
I would have,
that.
yes. And
So
he was
I'm
in
kind of like joking
the,
with him at the same time because without telling him that when he all of a sudden just like all of a sudden wants to go past it, like the cop says, well, he goes, it's in the back, and then all of a sudden he makes like an abrupt movement, which would have probably been fine if he wasn't with me. into the back. And then I'm like, dude, man, you can't do stuff like that. So I'm like kind of siding with the police officers to dissolve what's going on
Yes, I
without
remember.
doing.
I
And then
remember
I'm
looking
just like,
at Steve, and I'm looking at Steve, and I'm thinking, there's no way in the world they're not gonna, like, look at Steve. They're gonna definitely think we have smoked weed. And nothing happened yet. Just, did you get her number or not? I don't remember.
no.
A blonde
I
police
was
woman.
just flirting with her. I was just flirting with her.
Yeah, beautiful. It was like 5 minutes of flirting, really crazy. I was like, my jaw just dropped, Yeah. Yeah.
I was just helping you.
Yeah, that was the most amazing time where I saw Steve. Nothing phases him, like he's like seriously like Jesus walking on the clouds. Like it doesn't matter what happens,
Oh man, my eyes would try to play it so as cool as possible, but on the inside, my brain would be like, "What the fuck? Oh my god, we're going down." Because as you can tell, I'm melanated, so
yeah, of
cops don't
course.
like,
You were in the
Well, I could say that it has to do with the focus. Like I could focus on being overwhelmed by that situation, but I was just like focused on whoever I needed to be to keep this from turning into a bad situation for Yaniq. That's
that's I be on the inside. I'll try to play it cool, but I be shitting bricks. I be like, oh shit, I need some new draws. This is too much, man.
See, but it's interesting that I turned that on when I turned it on, but I'm not walking, which is I would say there's some of my beliefs are being tested, my principles are being tested because I'm of the one love variety, but
Right.
also I go into a place I'm like I'm not kissing police officers' ass, like at all. But when it comes to a situation like that, I'll play the game.
Yeah, no, you got it. You got to finesse, man. It's not kissing ass. It's finesse. It's finesse.
No, but I'm talking about I go into the coffee shop. I'm not. Oh, how are you doing today, officer? like one
Oh
time.
hell no.
One time I told a police officer, "Thanks for your service," and it was the most inauthentic. It came from the most
It's not
inauthentic place
that happens to me all the
that was
time.
deep inside of me.
Really, like I'm just.
I mean,
And it's
if I see a police officer, I'll say I'll wave. I'll be like, oh hey, like hi, like that's about it. Like if they look at me and smile, and I'm like, oh, like I'll treat you with respect. Like campus police when I was up at CSUN, yeah, of course. But on some other shit, I'd be looking like I'm not up to nothing, sir. I don't want none. Whatever you're selling, I don't want none. I'm good.
Yeah. I like to come from a place on that yeah, it seems like too much work, and I feel like a guilty person
right.
is self. So I just don't like to even jump into that realm.
Right.
And they can check my ID if they want. I mean, my shit's clean, and they can be mysterious like that, but they don't. I don't know what they're gonna get if like they approach me, like because a lot of them, a lot of times I just shut them down and make them feel real stupid. Usually when somebody else is there, I know another other time with some of the friends we had in common, I kept some real bad stuff from happening before and I kept from one of the guys in the crew from getting arrested, and that was another situation that somebody was just like amazed by what I was able to do. But usually when it's just me, like I'm a little more raw with it because anybody else is around, they might say something stupid, but I can more control the situation.
I get it.
Yeah. Cool. Anybody else have anything to say?
No,
Yes,
I'm good on this.
Surprisingly, you talked a lot about, Christianity and so on. Well, not Christianity, but Jesus or whatever. I want to say something because I really have, like, sometimes at the moment, especially, I have sometimes like a belief crisis or whatever. And I think there's just as many arguments for not believing as there are for believing, 50-50, even though I studied it so thoroughly, like, actually, I think that hasn't studied it can never come to a 50% for the belief thing. But if you do study it, then there's no way around it. There is a lot of arguments for it too, And so, yeah, just let's go to that side of belief. I'm just talking as the believer now, I just want to make that clear because I don't want to sound like I'm this guy that's like has faith, but I'm actually struggling with faith also, a lot actually at the moment. But so in the New Testament, there's two figures, and they're both Jesus' heroes. One is Peter and one is John. You have to compare the two. One is the guy, and the authors clearly wanted this to be seen. If you focus on that and look at it, you will see it. One of the two focused on his love for God, and he was the one that constantly failed, but still to the glory of God, because all his failure were there for us to learn from his failures. And the other one, John, so John in English, Peter in English, he was the one that focused on the love of God for him. So the opposite way, right? God for him. And he was the one, the only guy, the only man that was at the foot of the cross, the moment where Jesus needed him most, the only one that he never failed, basically he never failed because he focused on God's love. And you can see that through over and over this pattern, over and over again. Focus on what you can do, then you will fail. Focus on what he can do for you, and you will see the blessings come, It's all over. That's what
Right.
I want to say.
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree. I was just saying my experience, cause like I went to a high school called Cleveland High, not in Cleveland, Ohio, Cleveland and Reseda. And I basically kind of went to college before college in the sense of our magnet program, because I learned a lot about sociology, philosophy, and a lot of different ideals, I studied a lot of different religions. I studied all types of stuff that challenged my faith, and but even through studying all those things and other ideologies do make sense and explain why we are the way that we are, I still feel like Christianity for me is still the root, it's the foundation. And what's helped me with my faith is that whenever I see signs from God, it could be angel numbers, it could be a scripture, it could be something I find on Instagram. Like, I think God talks to people in different ways, and everyone's relationship with God is so different. I think that a lot of people are so fixated on this idea that God's going to speak to you directly in your mind, or he's going to just pop up. That would take away from faith. That would take away from what it means to have faith. So I can only speak on my experience, right? As the more I seek God, the more answers I get, and the more things work in my favor. Kind of like with John, like what he can do for your life. Like, even prime example, like when Steve was talking about how I like to see what's ahead of me with my path. Like, that was confirmation for me, because that's something I was struggling with. So like, you have to kind of like, if you, and this is my experience. If you truly seek God and you're truly trying to listen to him, and you're truly trying to figure out where I should go next in my journey, he can speak to you through people. He can speak through you through media. He could do it through the Bible. It's however he needs to reach you, he's gonna reach you. It could be music, because he reaches me. Like, sometimes as a DJ, I'll be finding songs for radio, and it'll be like something that I'm exactly going through, and I'm like, how? That's the best way I can describe it for me. That's what keeps my faith strong. God speaks to me in a lot of different ways. So
Yeah, for me, it's when you're talking about that, I'm not sure which guy, Peter or John, but it's all about alignment. And alignment's like this. It's not like this. And going
Yeah.
back to the analogy of walking and feeling that God presence as I'm walking, and I'm training myself, not necessarily so I walk with less effort, but so I move in my life with less effort. And also, every time I see a postal tuck and it says "We deliver for you," it's a reminder of that my angels are doing stuff for me. And the Pepsi truck, it's an acronym for purpose. EP, I want to make a lot of money to invest in more projects like I'm doing all around the world. Executive producer. And then how do you spell Pepsi? P-E-P S-I, and then it's C in Spanish. Yes. So
Hmm.
so randomly I brain hacked myself, so all these messages will come to me when I need them at the most, because moving towards being a humanitarian, I mean, a lot of times, how often did a Gandhi get to meet Martin Luther King? And
No. Yeah.
or I think they met once.
Really? Okay, nice.
There might have been some, but every once in a while I see a movie, and I always thought that was like really cool. Like, and those guys probably like still like were on two different ways of going about stuff. But there was probably some conversations that those two could have that other motherfuckers couldn't have.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Like, if those guys were waiting for somebody to understand them, they would have probably like never.
No, for real. Like that's like some real like the world is not going to understand you. And again, everyone's different. We all like think about this. For all these people who believe in science and results and all this other crap, right? I'm not saying it's crap, but you get what I mean.
Yeah.
Like think about it. If someone ran tests to show that we all learn differently, and we all got different needs, and we all got things, and God created us, what makes you think that the way he reaches Steve is how he's gonna reach me?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, but this is actually even proven through science that the school systems are bullshit. Even
exactly. So that's my point. That's my whole point of like, and here's the thing. I'm gonna say this one last thing. My mom right now, she's studying to be an evangelist. Like my mom is probably one of the most like devout, like Christian, like believes it. Like she's there. I grew up, raised that way. Obviously my beliefs are a little bit more liberal, inclusive, and all this stuff, but that's what the foundation came from her.
Mm-hmm.
But ultimately, like I've even had to challenge her and tell her, I was like, everyone's relationship with God looks different. How he reaches people, like your walk it's a walk. It's not a sprint. You don't fly to God. It's you build this relationship. You allow him to come into your life, right? And then from there you start your healing process. You start to look at things different. You start to try to be more God-like. You're trying, like, there are things that even though like, I'm a Christian, I'll post stuff on my story, but there's some stuff like I was laughing about Chris Brown and Drake about the whole Rihanna being pregnant. Like, I'm not perfect. I'm like, like I'll still crack a joke. I still like ratchet stuff. I still laugh at hood stuff. Like it's a walk. God's not finished with me. So
I'm gonna get Rihanna.
Yeah.
Just joking.
All right. Yeah, trust me. I'm not perfect, man. I like the ratchetry. I'm a DJ. I like the turn up, but at the same time, like I am spiritual. I do pray. I do thank God every day. I do, things that even though as a kid I didn't do as much. Now that I'm older, I see the importance of it, and so I really every day, even whether I'm working out or I'm outside, like even going outside, like for me is like it's in basking in God's world in any type of capacity, I'm like, you know, thank God, you know, I'm here. You know, it's a beautiful thing. I don't take anything for granted, and thanking God for the bad, because that's what's that teaches us lessons, and it brings us back to the good, you know. So yeah, it's a process, man. It's a walk. And you know, it's not one of those things of like automatically you get saved and you're just gonna be at church every Sunday and it's just gonna be your life is just gonna be easy. Like people of God get tested probably the most. So yeah.
Yeah, you
So
know, like there's most of these biblical figures, they're all murderers. Have you realized this? You know, many of them murdered someone.
No.
Yes, it's crazy. Like in the Old Testament, yeah. And then they are all these celebrated people because they turned around, you know. But nobody really celebrating them like, you know, like how we treat murderers. Like no murderer in the world would ever get this praise in our society, you know, like that. These building, yeah, because they changed, you know. I mean, they learned from their mistakes, terrible mistakes, of course. There's no words for it, you know. But
yeah. I just think it goes back to what Steve was saying about these people and his beef with people in the church. Like, that's why I really operate from love, man. Like love, and it says in the Bible, love never fails. No, love never fails. Like when you operate from love, like you can't fail. So,
that's why I prefer not saying God, because God is so overused and heavily loaded, and it has this idea of separation because we're one. And if you think of God, it's a separate person, you know, and it's not supposed. So love is actually the better word for me now, and because yes, love has an intelligence, you know, like love is bigger than just you and me. It's so in essence, yeah, it's a person more than for me, just more than the Trinity.
I get where you're coming from, and disagreement is not disapproval. I just think that when I speak of God, like my love for God and what He's done for me in my life and what He's done for, you know, people who believe or just people who don't even believe, I think is bigger than how someone else is gonna view that word. That's not God's fault. That
I'm not wrong to you. I'm just saying I like using that other. Yeah.
No, of course, no. I don't. Trust me, disagreement is not disapproval. And I totally get where you're coming from.
Yeah.
I just think that sometimes because and I know where you're coming from because people weaponize God. People use God for to shame people and because you don't believe what I believe or I don't think that you're acting in the way that you want because let's keep it funky real fast. There are people from the LGBTQ community who are Christian, who like really believe and who are really out here. Yeah. So certain people who are Christian, right, will go out and be like, well, no, that's not what the Bible says. And what you're doing is wrong, but you like all this other stuff. So I get where you're coming from. But at the end of the day, like if you're really about it, you're not gonna like I'll speak for me. I'm speaking for me. I feel like I'm not gonna because people have weaponized it, I'm not gonna like not give God credit because because for me, like there would be no love without God. So but that's just how I view things, right? Like again, disagreement is not disapproval. But
I agree with what you're saying. I see that as a manifestation of total commitment and thankfulness for what
right
done for you, and you will not deny your best friend and savior and so on. You know, yeah, you will not deny you. Hey, that is who he is, and this is where it's coming from.
Yeah,
I will not will not try to make it fuzzy. You know, like
right.
I get you. I'm totally with you. But you have to imagine, I'm also in a different culture here, man. Like it's
of course, yeah.
In America, you're not crazy when you talk about God. You can be reasonable. In Switzerland, you're crazy, okay? Like 10% or even
Yeah, of course.
God, like as in that could be real, you know. They never tried, you know. They never actually tried, so they don't know it could be real, you know. So
No,
of course
yeah,
it can be real. Like this is the thing, you know what I'm always saying. Like, don't say it can't be real. You know, anything can be. Anything can be. You know,
right,
it's intelligence that decides that all of Europe doesn't see this intelligence because it's the biggest intelligence of all intelligences. Then it can do that. You know, like or
right,
he can do that. God can do that. God can blind an entire continent. You know, of him not being because he has maybe a plan or something. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm
right,
not even that this is blind because I think that science and all the perspective of God as nothing, the perspective as God as not being, is just as much holy and amazing to think about and godly than him being. Because, you know, like Eckhart Tolle says, we come back to Eckhart Tolle, is that he's the great gentleman that is manifesting him through nothingness in the many forms of life. So he's invisible, as it says in the Bible, invisible and not tangible, not measurable. You cannot, and in everything, and like through everything, above everything, and so on. And still, you cannot pin him down. He's so selfless that he decides to only manifest himself through all of the other beings that are
right.
there. So I think that is actually like the European thought, or I'm just saying European. I think maybe it's wrong to say that, but I'm saying the scientific thought that has to work without God. First of all, it has to, because that's how science has to, you know, go from what is observable, you know. And I just told you, not observable. So science is not the same thing, right?
Right, of course, yeah.
It is not something negative, but also positive, and something we have to take just into account just as much, I think, and can work with, because, you know, some things, you know, we would be stupid if we didn't believe in science, you know, like you can, you know,
For
like
sure. I trust me. I believe in science. I believe. Here's the thing.
Yeah.
Again, some Christians will be mad at me, but to be real, there's. I think all these things work together. I think God is the foundation. He built all this stuff. He built these systems for all of it. He built rationality. He built logic. He created all this stuff. So like he created humor. Like God created Dave Chappelle. Like he created like some of the funniest people on the planet. Like I agree. Like there's some extreme. I'm gonna say this. There's some extreme people who are Christian who are like not for anything. Like it's just like God and that's it. And end of story. There's no real reasoning with them. But at the same time, like I'm just one of those people that like, nah, I've just seen miracles happen. I've seen God work in people's lives. I've seen him, like I've seen situations where I literally, like, logically speaking, this wasn't supposed to work out, and it did. So I just operate from that, and I know it's different cultural
example
things. You know, I would say my grandfather, man. My grandfather is 92, 93, around that age, and he had an aneurysm and he fell. Like my grandfather fell. And it wasn't looking good, man. Like we all thought he was gonna pass and he wasn't gonna heal from that. Like you're in your 90s and you have an aneurysm. And so like a few months later he healed and we celebrated his birthday. Like it happened like October, November, and then he was on his birthday pretty much eating fried. Actually no, I take it back. This happened October, November 2020, and then it like his birthday was like March 2021. Yeah, so I was right. Never mind. And he was good, eating fries, chilling, talking. His memory was intact, like all this stuff. I mean, that's just like one example I've seen where the doctors were looking at it like, yo, we don't know. And so I've seen prayer work, man. I've seen it manifest itself in my own life, and God's timing. Kind of like the story with Steve when he, he felt God in his eye, like, and he told him like, yo, I need to make it right. Like nothing's by happenstance. Like nothing, like even this moment in time, this conversation is not for like, it just, stuff just doesn't happen. It all
and also for me,
yeah,
like I come across some Christians that the way that I think they look at God is like he's an insecure dude credit for everything.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But for me, it's like, and I would say that this could be monitored by being grateful, getting out of life, and knowing that you're not the only one that's doing it, whether it's relying on other people or a God. That's going to change the way that your life goes about. So and science is there's a caught in science.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So I think it's important to go through our lives and not be blind. And that's one of the friends. I was like, the reason why the Bible's always talking about blind is because we're all blind in certain ways.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't think Jesus was just like healing blind people, like literally. A lot of times those stories that there's stories that are told all over the world. A lot of times those stories are not necessarily real, but they're metaphors for life.
Yeah, that's what I think too. I think a lot of the even the whole Noah's Ark, right? Like and I know Steve and I have talked about this. We're talking about how this pandemic it feels like one big storm, you know. And I remember thinking about that in the beginning of the pandemic. This is long before I met Steve. I was like, man, this just feels like it's just a storm, man. Like this, like when is this storm gonna end? So yeah, so I think a lot of the stories in the like a lot of stuff like that in the Bible, I think even as a kid I took with a grain of salt. I think what I get the most value out of the Bible is like the life lessons, like how to live, like the actual part of it where it's like you're getting the guidance. Like this is your manual. Like this is how you should operate. Like that's the stuff that I truly like look at. And that's why I like the Bible app. Like it gives you verse of the day. And a lot of times it's applicable to what I'm going through. Or it's a reminder of like, and another thing, my mom got me this small book for men. I wish I could grab it, but I don't have it on me. Just like it goes down all the things that you could go through. It's like fear, anger, passion, love, like and it'll basically on each chapter or each thing it'll have a verse applicable to that. And I find that way more useful because it's like, yo, I'm going through something. Let me look at what the Bible says about this. And it's like, oh, okay. Like that's my confirmation of like, okay, this is how I need to move. You know? But yeah.
Cool. Is everybody
That's
good?
just, no, I'm good. I'm good. I love the dialogue.
Yeah.
It was super good.
Yeah.
For sure.
I would never have thought it went so into the religious topic so much. Yeah. I have so many thoughts on this.
On it to the religious topic.
Yeah, not religious. As it depends how you define religious, of course. Yeah.
Yeah, because I identify more as spiritual.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm definitely more spiritual. And again, like some people would view me I lean more towards left. I think I'm middle of the road when it comes to certain things, but I'm definitely more left. I'm definitely more of a liberal. Just because I know that at the end of the day, who am I to judge and who am I to tell anybody how to live their life? You know, so and I'm very open-minded, man. Like I'm super open-minded, and I don't think that my ideas or my thoughts or my beliefs are better than anyone's, because we're all human beings trying to figure it out. So that's why you'll never catch me in a heated religious debate, because I'm like, that's your belief, homie. Like, I got mine. It's cool. It's all gravy.
I've had more spiritual conversations with strippers than priests. And I
believe that.
I've spent much more time with priests than strippers. Like, much more. But
yo, but true.
Like, what was that?
But the truth is, though, who's doing more dirt? Because at least my thing is, the strippers are doing dirt, right? Because, like, obviously it's sin, get naked, whatever, right? But the priests, I be feeling bad, because it's like, yo, you're supposed to be held to this higher standard, and you trying to be holy, and you're supposed to be living holy, but you out here doing some of the worst stuff possible. I don't know. But again, people like that make people like me look bad, because that's the turnoff for Christianity, or like people who believe. That's the turnoff, because it's like, oh, you supposed to be so holy, you supposed to love everybody, you supposed to, but you out here doing all this stuff, and I just be looking at them like, bruh, hey. But it is what it is, man. But I believe you wholeheartedly, Steve. I believe you 1,000%, because I'm pretty sure that
and
it beats
so
like
did
that.
Jesus. I think Jesus spent more times with strippers than with priests. Yeah.
Yeah.
He kicked it with murderers.
His whole life
He
with
kicked it
strippers.
with
Yeah. So
gangbangers, prostitutes, all of them. All gamblers, drunks,
yes,
potheads.
exactly. Yeah. Tax
He
collectors.
kicked it with everybody.
Yeah. Thugs.
That's why I'd be like,
And yeah.
no,
So,
I can't.
That's where you gotta go.
I can't. But
To experience the real shit. That's
point.
where you're gonna experience some miracles. You know, I experienced also some crazy shit. You know, and it was always there. It was always right there. It was never in the church. You know, almost never. It was always.
No, but
yeah.
That's the point of, like, me trying to go and work with these incarcerated youth, because I'm like, who am I to be like, oh, you guys have been written off by society, that you guys are damaged goods. That's like, if I'm trying to be more Christ-like, I need to go. Like, I need to go and be like, hey, like, what's up? Like, I'm in hip hop. I'm in hip hop. Like, I've literally seen it where clients that we've had, like, oh, we're booking a tour. No, so and so just went to jail. Like, I'm in rap. I'm literally a Christian in rap, and I'm not saying that it's an anomaly, because there's a lot of Christians in rap, but, like, for real, like, so I just don't operate from that lens of, like, oh, you ain't living holy. Like, I never subscribe to it. We're all human. We're all trying to figure it out, and everybody's walk with God is different. So why am I gonna? That's just me. I'm good. I'm good on this.
Yeah, one of the definitions of the difference between spiritual and religious is religious person is somebody that wants to avoid going to hell, and a spiritual person is somebody that's been there.
Yeah, that's right. I feel you, man.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. I the whole topic of hell, I've been quiet, because I have different ideas, you know, lots of ideas and lots of things I want to talk about, but I don't want to open that box, because it's going to take another hour, and so.
Yeah, no, I agree, and I personally got some stuff to do. But I will say this. I don't even give the devil airtime. I even talk. I don't, not to be like that, because just to show you my humanity. I don't give that nigga any airtime. I don't I don't even like, the most when I see things like going wrong, I'm like, man, the devil's working hard. He's working hard, but God got me. So I don't even give that nigga no airtime.
I think the
Nope.
church sells the devil more than they sell heaven.
So here's some food for thought. Yes, I agree, Steve. The word devil actually means accuser, and that's really important. We start translating that word, because then it all makes sense. The problem lies in the accusation, and the solution lies in no judgment. That's what the world needs.
But
We talk
see,
about humanitarian.
that's
does
what
the
I'm
world need?
on.
No judgment. That's it.
But again, what did I say?
Yeah.
Jesus kicked it with strippers, potheads, murderers, drunks,
Yes.
freaking
People like you
low
and me.
lives. Who am I to judge and not hang out with my peoples? So if you see me on the
Exactly.
block with
No,
your
I
homie,
can't. Yeah, only with those people, because there's
you
no
see,
judgment. There's no judgment there, because everybody screwed up. It's the best. You know, the best party I've been to. One of the best parties I've been to. A lot of really good parties, I have to say. But this party was a gay guy, and he I'm not gay. I just want to say that, but yes, I have a lot of gay friends, Christian gay friends, actually. And this guy is a Baptist, and his family's Baptist, and even his fucking parent didn't come to his marriage, you know. And he asked me, it's the only marriage I've ever done. I was the pastor, basically, you know. Not that that word actually means something totally different as well, but I was asked to do the ceremony, you know. Not the state ceremony, because the French state, it was just when France allowed gay people to be married. And he asked me, Yaniq, I want you to be the guy that marries us, you know, because there's always two ceremonies, the one with the state and the one church ceremony. So we did that, you know. And, you know, there was no people there. All people there are not big judges, because people that are accepting of these people, they're open, they're tolerant people. And so the party was amazing, man. There's so much laughter and fun, and so party. And that's when I realized, oh, you know what, maybe it's not only that, you know, because people have always this idea, you know, like when you're there it's not as nice, but that's not true. It's actually nicer, because people don't judge you there. Everybody loves each other, because they all know they screwed up, so they don't look at your mistakes. They just love you for who you are, you know. That's it.
Yeah, man, freaking that's what it's about. Like, who am I to judge anybody for anything? I got my own stuff. I got my own, and my thing is, here's my thing. If you believe in the Bible so tough, this is really it, and it's a closer for me. If you believe in the Bible so tough and God's gonna like condemn and do all this stuff, why don't you just put your hands up and be like, God gonna see you, and keep it pushing? Like, I don't understand. I don't get it. Like, but you want to outwardly be like, no, shame. Like, what? like for me, like, again, I'm a sinner. I've done stuff I ain't proud of, for sure. But at the same time, it's like, I got my own stuff that I'm gonna be judged for. You got your own stuff that's gonna be judged for. If this is like straight biblical and what it is, like, all right, cool. That doesn't mean I can't love you and not judge you and all this other stuff. Like, again, like, some of the people I love and who've been the best to me, some of the people who've given me opportunities, like even in student housing, my boss transitioned from a woman to a man, but God allowed that blessing to come from that person. So what am I supposed to do? Be like, oh, well, you're trans, I can't accept the blessing? A good job of free housing and living, and I'm in a trip because that person's a part of the LGBTQ community? You're crazy. You're crazy. You're crazy. Yeah. I'm not subscribing to it. I'm not doing it. So that's what I come from, that lens of, man, like, you just gotta love everybody, man. Don't judge people. Like, we all got our own struggles. We all got our own battles. And here's the thing. At the end of the day, we don't know, based off of identity, we don't know what other people go through. Like you were just saying, like, someone's own parent didn't go to the wedding because that person was gay. Like that's something that I couldn't even fathom, because
that's pure religion. That's not faith.
Male. Yeah,
because
like
love,
that's tough. So that's why I don't judge. That's why I don't judge on anything. But yeah, that's my
because, sorry, I'm just telling you because I just don't want you to think that I'm laughing about you. I'm laughing about Steve because he's over there just hovering. It made me feel like he's the picture of God. You know, he's just up there silent.
Steve has that aura, man.
Exercising his Buddhism.
Steve is that dude.
Exercising his silence.
But yeah. Yeah, but gentlemen, this was great. I love when people can come. Like, I feel like real men. I know that's a loaded men being, it's loaded now, but I think that real like people at the end of the day come and discuss ideas, and even if we have opposing views, we see where everyone's coming from, and and respect that. So I love it, and it was dope.
Yeah, man.
Cool.
Yeah.
Until next Tuesday.
Let's wrap it up.
Tuesday.
Okay. See you guys.
See ya.
Bye.